Decentralize Now.
Well, thanks again for listening to Decentralize Now. I'm Chemtrail, and I'm here with Busted, and we have a very special guest with us tonight, all the way from Uganda. It's actually in the evening now. It's very early in the morning where he is, and he's speaking to us live through the power of the internet, and we're very excited to talk with him. So, Mr. Mwesige Joram, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blast and Bastard, for hosting me at the Decentralize Now podcast.
Absolutely, man. We're happy to have you. We've been really looking forward to talking to you and kind of getting your perspective on. I know you're big into the libertarian kind of life over there, and just been looking forward to talking to you and seeing what it's like and how you guys are dealing with COVID and all that kind of stuff. You know.
Okay, wonderful.
Now, I have a friend named Daniel Berman, and I believe you've met Daniel Berman. Is that right? Do you know a man named Daniel Berman from Texas?
Yes, I've ever met. I hosted Berman in Uganda last year. So
yes.
We hosted him and he spoke to us.
He told me that he had a great time in Uganda and thought it was a beautiful place. And he said that when he went to Uganda, he wasn't used to a lot of the wildlife at night. I suppose he said that it was very loud at night. Is that true? At night, are there a lot of animals kind of making lots of noise? Is that right?
Yes, it depends where you stay. But the country is very beautiful. As he told you, the environment is okay. Yes, naturally we are gifted. We are endowed with a lot of good climate, natural resources, and wild animal. Everything is okay. Actually, the temperature, the weather is okay. Everything is fine.
Though that's what he said. He said that Uganda was a beautiful country, and I'm very jealous that he was able to go. So I was excited to speak with you too. So I wanted to ask you, because I have a lot of questions I want to ask you, but I want to start with this. You know, being in Uganda, you know, how did you learn about libertarianism? And how has that impacted your life? How did you first learn about libertarianism?
Oh, wonderful. I came across the idea of libertarian in 2014. I was still in my university, Chambogo University. A gentleman who had gotten the idea of Nigeria came to one of our guild presidents, guild leader, talked to him and accepted to host the Liberty Camp. When he hosted, I was invited as one of the activists from the campus. There I came to meet the libertarian, and I had to adopt the idea. First, before joining, I had the other perspective. I mean, I believed in socialism. I knew the kind of liberty I was fighting for. I didn't know the kind of liberty actually I was fighting for. I advocated for a welfare state. I advocated for democracy, where a majority takes the liberty of others. That's the kind of liberty I use. But when I encountered libertarianism in 2014, I met the libertarians. I came to drink from the literature, the speeches, and all the memes and everything from the libertarians. I realized that I was preaching a wrong gospel of socialism and communism. I felt I was trying to enslave other people with ideas I'm preaching, and I also discovered that the government is an evil and it's trying to enslave the whole of the society where we are living. And I discovered that the government around the world is another criminal entity where we must reduce and limit it. Actually, because we agitated for a limited government, we needed to reduce, to limit the influence of the state. Yeah, that's I met liberty idea in 2014 through Student for Liberty Uganda.
Now, let me
Yes.
ask you this: in Uganda, do people because in America there are still many people who don't even know there's a libertarian party. They don't know the meaning of the word libertarianism. So sometimes in America, when we talk to people about our beliefs, they're very confused. They've never heard them before. When you talk to people, because obviously you're an activist in Uganda, when you talk to people about your ideas, what's the general reception? How do people generally respond when you talk about libertarianism? Are they curious? Are they suspicious? Yeah. What's their general reaction?
Most of people claim to know liberty in
Hmm.
Africa and Uganda in particular, but they don't know the literal meaning of liberty. And those
Mm-hmm.
people who know about it, they say libertarianism is an imported idea from Western, and they say it comes to terminate, actually to violate.
Mm.
They talk about gayism, they talk about that and that, yet liberty is a belief of self-ownership and all that. People do not have there is what they coin it. Because for them, if you talk about our society, the general reception they have, it's like you want to exploit people. Of course, when we talk about capitalism, they
Mm-hmm.
say for you want to exploit people, you are power hungry and you are greedy men. You get, that's what they always talk about. They don't,
Well,
of course, they don't have a clear, deeper understanding of what actually we preach. That's why we always tell them there is a force, the ideology that, of course, they're enslaving us. That's the idea about the socialism, I mean, communism, those are ideas employed by the government to take your liberty. You see, the government break your legs and then they give you a crutch and they say, look, we have given you something. When in the actual sense, they don't know that the government is the one which has broken your leg. They collect tax from you, they give you something and you praise them. They all don't understand the biggest concept of libertarianism. They don't understand. They don't understand the element of free market and what is its essence to the world.
Well, that's an interesting response because I received that reaction as well. People will say, well, libertarians want to allow big corporations to exploit working people, and certainly that's happened in the past. But I think it's interesting that a lot of those corporations or big powerful companies, they're able to do that through special favors from the government. Kind of like what you're saying. If there was true liberty, people would be able to compete, and if people didn't want to work for one employer, they could go work for another. Is there do you find that problem in Uganda? Are there is there does the government have too much power in Uganda over the economy?
Of course, government has a lot of interference. It has that what we call the one you are saying, crony capitalism. Of course, it employs the corporations. They come and actually enjoy incentives on behalf of the other people. The government is trying to control us, of course, to impose taxes, too much taxes. Uganda has one of the biggest government in the world. Of course, you know what it means to have the biggest government. That is, it means taxes to the people. Ugandans are paying tax to the biggest government. It has a very big parliament. It has a very big executive. It has very big government, president, representative. Everything is big. So that means when the government is big, it means government regulation and interference. And actually, to inform you, we are living under a dictatorship. It is a constitutional dictatorship. It clings in power using a constitution, which constitution has been manipulated. If I'm telling you, Uganda constitution has been amended several times, which I don't know, more than actually over 30 times. Uganda constitution was made, the current constitution was promulgated in 1995, but it has been amended more than 50 times. USA constitution has been amended, I don't know how many times since it was promulgated in 100 years, I think. Yeah, we are living under an exploitative government, of course. The government is too big and it imposes a lot of tax on us.
Now, in Uganda, are there different political parties, or is it all pretty much just sort of one party that people don't have a say? Are there different political parties in Uganda?
Uganda is a multi-party dispensation, but the political terrain in Uganda is violated by the current government. Opposition are not given a platform to exercise their liberty. They are not given a chance to be on media. They are totally restricted. And even me today, I'm restricted. They have to pay tax to be on social media. The government say I have to pay tax to be on social media. The government is saying,
"Oh my God!"
Did you say they have to pay taxes to be on social media?
I have to pay social media to be on tax. The government claimed that those people who are on social media are gossiping, they're time wasting, they're talking to government, so they must pay tax.
That's insane.
Wow.
Even on radios, opposition are restricted. They are not allowed to talk. They're given that opportunity. They are harassed, of course. The constitution, of course, provides for a multi-party dispensation, but of course, under military dictatorship, you cannot, of course, be given a chance. People may hear, if you do not internally inside here, you may not understand what is going on. Sometimes it is a way of you are pressed internally when other people are not aware.
You think you've heard it all? You haven't heard shit. Stick around for more Decentralize Now.
Is there anything with the libertarian kind of ideology that, like maybe us here in America, kind of, flock to that maybe doesn't work well over there? Is there anything about the kind of libertarian stance that you don't agree with, that you don't like, or you don't feel maybe has a place in the country where you live versus America?
No, as an individual, I have a belief.
Mm-hmm.
I don't live other people's lives,
Mm-hmm.
and other people
Right
do not live my life. So what someone does, which does not infringe on my right, I don't care. I don't want to know ban. I don't want to know bastard.
Fuck yeah!
I don't want to know.
That's an awesome fucking answer.
what does not infringe on my life?
Mm-hmm.
What does not take my property? What does not take my life? That is none of my business. So that is my belief. Of course, other people will say, this is what we don't, they don't understand the principle of tolerance, the no harm principle, which the libertarian believe. So those people are there, of course. But for us, we are libertarian, we are trying to spread the gospel. Actually, I'm a leader of a libertarian think tank. I did not introduce that to you.
Please do.
I run a libertarian platform, actual think tank called Action for Liberty and Economic Development. We run a lot of campaigns. We run these through seminars, conferences, social media, and all that. We reach to young students, tell them about these ideas of limited government, free market, property rights, and so forth. So this is what we do in Uganda. But that one of ideas being receptive, what to me as an individual, of course, I have none actually.
No, I have two questions. The first is this: based upon what you've been saying, will you accept an invitation on behalf of our podcast to come to the United States and run for president? Because we really need you.
Berman Daniel, taxation is safe, can represent me.
Okay, Daniel Berman. Okay, he can do that.
I think that gentleman is one. When I met him, of course, it is the power of social media that I came to know him. When I encountered that gentleman, I easily came to understand him. His ideas are typical of that libertarian. Is the guy who stands and says this is right and what we should go with. His principle, I think. Yeah, you can represent me, and if I'm given an opportunity, of course, it's not an opportunity for me. I believe in an open. I believe in open borders. Of course, given an opportunity, I will come to America. You see, and actually, I'm pressed with American visa, immigration, whatever policies. They restrict us from coming and rule and lead you people. Donald Trump has a stringent visa application process.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you just come here illegally and have a couple kids, they'll just let you stay.
Yeah, we have a place for you. You can come to our house. You won't tell nobody. You'll be safe.
Yeah, I understand. I'm not afraid. I'm even interested in breaking rules. Yeah, that's me. I because the rules, those people have imposed. The government has imposed the rule on us, but we must to make sure that to attain a free society. There must be bold people to break those rules, and when we break those rules, many people will actually try to copy what we do. They will emulate us, then we also create a free society.
Busted, this guy's the most badass guy I've ever met.
Yeah, this is an awesome interview, dude. I'm so glad.
Yeah,
we did
absolutely.
this. You were talking about breaking rules, and you were also you said you go to a lot of the universities and stuff like that where you are, and you talk about the libertarian kind of idea and how that works, and hey, there is another option out there. Do you feel like not necessarily the students and things like that you're talking to, but do you feel like maybe people in more of a position of power, do they look at you poorly for having those ideas or talking about it so freely with other people?
Of course, I told you, we are living under dictatorship. We are living under a socialist system. It means those people have power. They grab the power through an incentivized system, which is inbuilt. When you try to expose that with libertarian principles, first, libertarianism is like giving power back to the people, to an individual. When you empower an individual, of course, that is threatening the state. So, when you talk these things boldly, of course, the state will be scared and the leaders will be scared. And of course, sometimes for us, we go down to work. Sometimes we do some work, for example, community work, we volunteer. So people that we can use volunteerism, solve it, and develop our country without a lot of influence from the government. Of course, some leaders buy those ideas. We tell them it's about free people who can trade, who can buy, who can innovate. And those people, some of them understand these ideas. But because there is that element of greed with individuals, for example, the president we have right now, he has stayed in power for over 35 years almost.
Wow.
So if you talk about these ideas threatening his seat, his power, it is of course challenging. So for us, we kind of go and tell younger people, sometimes we don't.
How long?
Confront people.
How long did you say he'd been in power?
He has stayed in power over 35 years. Almost, he's going to 35 years now. He's over 34 years. He's going to 35. Because next year we shall be, they will be staging a cultural election. An election here is like a culture, something. Because it is not it is always a rigged sham election. They put there to show the world that Uganda is a democracy, yet the election is rigged because the electoral commission, the polling agent, everyone is paid and appointed by the very person who is in power. So that is the kind of system we are living in, which is very wrong. You cannot appoint someone in a position, you pay him, and then that person does not fail to believe you and does not disobey you.
Are you enjoying the podcast? Just kidding. We know you are, and you're welcome. You're listening to Decentralize Now.
That's incredible. So I think you're very brave, and to be. And I can tell when you speak with a lot of passion. That's very inspiring, and I think that a lot of people in our country need to hear what you're saying, and realize that we have a lot a lot at stake as well. And some of the things that are happening that you're describing, we experience here too. It might be in different ways, but it's interesting that the governments, just the concept of governments, is evil no matter where it is in the world. They try to do the same types of things when it comes to limiting a different opinion or taxing unnecessarily. So I'm definitely very impressed. If people want to help support you with what you're doing in Uganda with your think tank, what can they do, and how can they help you?
Yeah, with helping us, I'm running a public library. We have a public library with libertarian literature. It's open to the public. People come and read here. They come here and do some small work. Of course, we need to get numbers. We have, by the way, recruited younger people. Some of them even are trying to take up political positions. Some of them are saying this idea must go political so that we can get people to hear us. Because when you have a political platform, for example, like in campaigns, you can talk to very many very many people to get to know these ideas. So some people we have groomed in our movement, they're saying, let us formulate a political party. So they are coming up, they have gazetted the name, African Libertarian Union. They are remaining with registration, because now they are remaining with collecting signatures, and they go and register the party. That one it needs a lot of work, of course. They may need help somehow. Of course, we are younger people who have just started. We need some finance in that area with that group. Of course, for us, we are still under an NGO. We are under civil society. We not much. Of course, we work as different entities. So those one can also be helped. And also us who run a think tank, we directly help those people. We can also we guide them with these ideas when they come to us, of course. So we can help those people financially, and also we need books, we need some laptops, because we need to train some people who can be with us in the library. Of course, when we want to attract numbers, we give them opportunity. We train some of those people with computer skills sometimes. We also run a libertarian library, farm. We have a farm which help to bring younger people. In the process, of course, most of them become our friends. As we are doing work, we also preach them libertarianism. You see the way how we do our things. We have a farm where we attract younger people who are passionate with farming. We tell them libertarianism. We have a library where they come and read our books. After that, we also go in public. We do conference. We go in public. We do seminars. We are on social media. If you are ever following me, I don't know. If every day I post about libertarianism and other friends of mine, we can be helped with finance. If it's possible, we can be helped with logistics. Logistics is very necessary.
Is there a website or somewhere people can go to if they wanna do that?
Our website is not yet standing. It is lacking that finance. We have not connected funding opportunity there. But you can, you can raise money if there is a GoFund. You raise first money, then you can do it in Western Union. You can do it World Remit, something like that. Maybe it can work. And also you can post if there is a books collected of laptop, then you can email. Yeah.
Well, we'd of course like to let people know that they can do that. So I'm very just blown away by what you're doing, and we're in a time right now in our country with the response to COVID-19, where people are told to stay inside their homes, and they're shutting down businesses.
In some places, they're shutting down whole neighborhoods. They're shutting down entire blocks.
And
yes.
So many Americans are just doing it. They're not questioning it. So I think it's important, to hear someone with such passion like you. And I'm hoping that people who listen to this podcast will listen here, because we need more people like you in our country for sure. So I know it's very, very late, but I hope this won't be the last time you'll come on to the podcast because you're very informative, and I liked what you have to say. So, thank you for coming on, and hopefully we'll have you on soon.
Yes. But also, COVID-19 has eaten the globe.
Sure.
In Uganda today, actually, it was at home where I sleep. The power is not there for 3 days. When you called me, my battery was around 60%. I had to run back to the office. My office is almost near to get tap into that power so that they can talk to you.
Oh,
so
wow.
COVID-19 actually it was threatening when I tried to leave the house. It is almost a half a kilometer. I was like, if I move out and the government arrest me because we are under curfew at night, we do not have to move. Actually,
Wow.
we are under lockdown, like all of you around the world. We do not move. We had public transport is not working. Private transport is also restricted. Actually, movement is generally restricted, and it is only accessible by very few people. So the government has even taken that as an excuse, even to oppress the citizen. Today, you may not understand that we have tried to help people with some food. Government has restricted giving food to your neighbor, especially if you are known, you are known a politician. The government passed a resolution that if you are found giving food, of course the president decreed that if they found you giving food, that will be attempted murder. And some people have been tortured in prison because of that. And one of my colleagues today was arrested. Of course, he was from picking some food somewhere. He slept actually in the cooler today. So that's the kind of environment we are in because of COVID-19.
That's fucked.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, that is you wanted me to talk about COVID-19 only. That I had a lot of things to talk. I was like forgetting about it, but it is another platform which has given government too much power.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Actually, here government is using a certain law. It is called when there is a health crisis, the government invoke that law and impose it on the people. And all the orders that they are giving, they are not constitutional. So we found ourselves under dictatorship. The government, for example, as I've told you, if you are in a position and you want to help someone, you have to take food to the government. And the food you take to the government has been, of course, you know the work of government. It has been corrupted. And the government has actually gotten a lot of money from USA. It has gotten over 20 billion from USA. It has gotten 498 billion from IMF.
What?
It has borrowed money on behalf of us. Yes, it has borrowed money on behalf of us, and that money, even the parliament of us has allocated money to State House, to security, to the district authority. And that money, we don't know where exactly it does, and who don't actually clear the account. And the office where they are putting that money, the office of the Prime Minister, since 2000, since I was a child, it is known den of thieves. All the crisis in Uganda has been an opportunity for those people to steal actually. The office of the Prime Minister is a known gazetted area of thieves. And the very money which is being collected, actually allocated, is used by the same office. The same office is allocating tenders of buying food to supply to the people, to the relatives, and the food which they have been supplying, of course, is recently the Speaker of Parliament was saying the food is rotten, the milk was expired, and also that, and even Parliament itself, it allocated itself money to go and do COVID work. And the work of Parliament here is actually not to do any project. But when they saw the crisis, the executive is allocating itself money, and also they felt like we should also take a chance and also grab this money from here. So they allocated to themselves 20 billion, 10 billion. Everyone, of course, was, as I told you, was to get 10 million. Of course, Uganda is 44 times USA, but it has one of the biggest parliament. If you see what is happening here, actually, what I see in the parliament, what I see in government, actually every day annoys me. the way how those people are dishing money, the way how they are sharing money, the way how they are employing their relative, and the way how they are taxing us. You see that if you have a brain and if you have knowledge about libertarianism and how you contribute to the government and how you contribute to the government and how those people are stealing your life, you feel like even, I don't know, if you feel like you're becoming a radical, like a fundamentalist, and actually attack those people and become someone like a terror, I believe. But of course, for us, we believe in peace. We believe in preaching ideas that transform the society slowly. That's what we opted to take.
That's insane, man. That's wild. I mean, I don't even know what to say back to that. That's it's weird too, because
go ahead, Buster.
No, go ahead, buddy. Oh, I was just saying, it's so weird that we live in. Sorry, buddy.
Jesus. No, you go first. We're both.
I was just saying, it's weird, to think we live in a place where, I mean, we talk shit about the government constantly, but I don't feel like I'm threatened with jail time for saying, like, fuck the president or fuck the COVID-19. It's just wild to think you live in a place where you could be potentially thrown in jail for just speaking out against it, and then to think that all that money comes in for aid and it's just stolen. It's just stolen from you. It's sad. It's insane. It's tragic.
Yes, the money that comes in aid, actually, it goes to waste. Those people use it in their own projects, or they use it, for example, in 2021, we are going in election. Those people are targeting the poor population. Everyone is given at least a coin during the election to buy. There is what we call vote buying in Uganda. So when it is campaign period, people, of course, the politicians, they come with money, they give you 1,000, and then most people who are poor, of course, they will accept and buy. And of course, the machinery will make sure when they buy the votes, of course, they also take charge. Yeah, that's the kind of the money is the resources. The resources they get in the form of aid, the resources they get in the form of taxes. We do not have voice concerning that. They are the one to determine how much they should give back to the community. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Free the people, free the markets. Decentralize now.
When you look at the situation in Uganda, what do you see as a reason for hope? Because you're describing what many would maybe describe as a very bleak situation. What gives you hope? What motivates you to press forward in spite of so much opposition?
No, what gives me hope is one, we have started something that actually will advocate for peace. We have started on platforms that will, of course, give light to people. People will understand that they made a mistake. For example, the Constitution, as I told you, it has been violated. It has been amended so many times. I did not ask you how many times the American Constitution has. I learned. I'm of knowledge that American Constitution for very many years has been amended, not more than 5 times, I think. But here, the Constitution has been violated. For example, age limit. When the president understood that he had conceded for more than 2 terms, because the terms were restricting him, of course, he removed that article from the Constitution. When the Constitution was saying that 25 years, someone does not have to go beyond, when he clocked the years, he removed that. So you see how the situation is tricky is. The parliament is dominated by those people in power. Yes, they are the one who to amend in favor of those people who are in government. But what gives us hope is these ideas we are embracing, and younger people are receptive to these ideas, and younger opposition people also, they are trying to do their work, and the work they are doing, of course, they're about reducing the dictatorship. And also for us, we are like fine tuning. We are taking back on those ideas. We are challenging opposition that these are the correct ideas. We are asking opposition the questions. If you take power using the very system, employing the very system the current government is using, you are going to be dictators. Why don't you opt for these policies? Why don't you opt for reducing the government? The government is too big. Why don't you reduce the government? The big government takes enslaved people. Why don't you reduce the power of parliament? Why don't you reduce the power of a president? For example, the president has a lot of power. He is the appointing authority, the chief of armed force. He's everything almost. He appoints the judiciary. He appoints the electoral commission. He appoints the governor of the central bank. So if you see that power, he can influence everybody in the whole country. All the private sectors, everywhere, he has a hand there. But if his power is restricted on governance, not in the economy, I think somehow it is possible to achieve balance of power. Yes.
When you speak to people in Uganda, and I'm going back to my earlier question about how people react when you talk about it. Do you find that people might agree, but they feel, well, what's the point? What can I do? And if so, what do you do to reach those people? Or do you find that's not the case?
Of course, not all people can agree. Some people, as I told you, they challenge the idea we are preaching. Some people, they feel, for example, the socialists, they are ingrained in socialism. They believe in in collectivism. They believe in egalitarian state. They feel like taking from you, blast, is the only way to go. They feel taking from bastard is the only life they are living. So when you bring these ideas of everyone working and attaining wealth for himself, or when you talk about free market, they feel that the government will not have enough control, they will not collect enough tax, they will ask you who will construct the roads, they will ask you all that, they will want a free Medicare. They don't know that. I read one interesting book called Economics in One Nation by Henry Hazlitt. They don't know that it was talking about a concept of economics. I mean, economic concept. They talked about the broken glass theory, which the unseen and the seen ideas. People do not know that when you leave taxes in amongst people, they can construct. When you leave money, when people they can save. Those people do not understand that. So they try to challenge us when we talk about who will create a job if the government is not around. But when we tell some people that if we reduce taxes, people of course will go on and invest that money which the entrepreneur have, create more jobs. And when people have money, of course they will go in the hospital. They will not be even yearning to go in the whatever, in the government hospitals. They will not go in government school where they have money because they are employed somewhere. Even if you give trillions to government, every service provided by government here is corrupted. The health system is sick. If you go there, you may even become more sicker, if I'm saying. So everything is not good with the government. The roads are broken in 3 months. You construct a road using, actually, you're going to construct one of the most funded roads, but which are very poor in the world. It has schools which are with sick teachers who are actually less paid. So it is only a few people at the epitome of the power who takes a lot of resources. Actually, Uganda, some opposition leader was one time saying it is only 10% the entire taxes collected in Uganda that enjoy from that.
That's incredible, and I think it's very I think Americans will find it very disheartening to hear that if we give aid to a country, or if a country receives aid, I know was the situation in Haiti, which received quite a bit of aid, but the government. Oh, go ahead.
I'm very saddened with America. It is funding a dictator to cling on us. America, actually, I always tell my fellow American, I talk about two things. I talk about three things. I talk about America as a dictator. How can America employ ballot access? That is a form of dictatorship. I also talk about immigration policy.
Absolutely.
Americans always, we actually, for us, we are receptive to American. I think that because we are poor sometimes, but for me, the government is receptive to Americans because it is poor. That is what I'm saying. But for me, I'm open to receive Americans on merit, actually, on basis of on open borders. But the government does that because it is poor. They need money from you people, Americans. The other one I also talk about is America funding dictators in Africa. That is quite challenging. If America needs to give aid to Africa, they need to empower people. Let the American give scholarship to younger people. Let America give visa to younger people who are interested, who are innovative. Ugandans and Africa has some brilliant young people who are innovative. The younger people who are interested. Actually, America has some professors who are from Nigeria, nurses from Africa who are very brilliant. Europe has very many Africans who are doing who are in health system. They are very efficient, very qualified one. So America, if it is to help Africa, it should not fuck with African rights. They should not give dictators resources to oppress us. And even recently, due to COVID-19, I saw 20 million being given to the government. And we were wondering, and sometimes when evil is being committed, we hear the embassy coming out to talk about it, but they do not actualize what actually they say. What they talk is, they leave it on paper. So if America is to help Africa, they should look into the channel, the ways. They should look into the area where those resources can be invested. It is not proper to work with the government that oppress the citizen. You cannot empower dictators to exploit the citizens.
Do you agree? Do you think that the United States gives these countries or these dictators funds in exchange for favors from the dictator, sort of like buying an alliance? Do you think it has more to do with two governments, working together for mutual favors, or is that not a factor in play?
The world geopolitics is a crazy one. The superpower are fighting for position, global position. America is fighting favor from the whole world. China and Russia and all those great countries, the world powers, are fighting for favor. So they need to buy favors, of course, from this government. They need to keep. Of course, I read a book donated to me by Daniel Berman also. It is called The New Economic Hitman. It exposed me to how actually these things I knew them, but it also exposed me to this how China is exploiting Africa. China actually has some parastatals here. Even they are grabbing some airport of different of one of the countries in Africa. So they buy this when the government they come. Of course they work with the government, and government of course give them. Of course I told you they get loans. When they get these loans, of course when they fail to pay, of course they grab these things. But first they do it by of course befriending these governments, these heads of state. They get that is corruption in corporations.
We've unfortunately we've run out of time, and it's unfortunate because everything you're saying is wonderful, and I definitely want to have you come on again. But just in case someone's only listening to the end, if they want to follow up with the work that you're doing and maybe start to donate some of those books,
Yes.
Where is one place you would send someone?
Yeah, but I normally use a private the post number. I think that one we can communicate in a message.
Okay.
I don't know
Well,
if you are known.
I
If I
apologize
don't
for
know, I
interrupting
don't.
you. I apologize for interrupting you,
Yes.
but would it be better for if someone wanted to donate for them to contact us and then to send that to you personally? Is that would that be a better means of communication?
Yes, it is fine. It is fine.
Okay.
You can even.
We'll also put a link to your Facebook account on the description of the podcast, so maybe people can get a hold of you that way as well.
Yes, but but we run a public social media page in the name is Action for Liberty and Economic Development. We also
Yes.
have a website, www.uganda.org. We also have we run a Facebook page, National Liberty Uganda. So also, I'm also on Facebook, Mwesige Joram Kyenjojo, and I don't know if you people if you are on Facebook because I need to keep in touch with you.
I am on Facebook, and I do believe we're friends on there. Ed Bust. My account is constantly getting banned. So there's Ed Bust or Edward Bust, but I do believe we're friends on there.
I don't know that name. You'll send it in the message in the text.
Absolutely.
Well, you've been listening to Decentralize Now, and we've had our friend from Uganda, who's been very patient. Like I said, it's very early in the morning where he is, and as you can tell, he took a great risk to speak with us. We have Mr. Mwesige Joram, so thank you very much for what you do in Uganda and for speaking with us. And we definitely want to spread, what you're doing with our channel. We want to support you in ways that we can, and we definitely want to have you back on the program again in the future.
Yes, thank you. I'm very humbled for hosting me on Decentralized Podcast now. We need to spread liberty with love.
Spread love, not COVID.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess we'll end it there. So thanks again for listening. So if you're listening to this podcast and you've enjoyed it, make sure to share. All the links to Mr. Joram's work will be included, so you can see those Facebook pages. Also, make sure to join us on Breaker. We're theoretically on SoundCloud. I need to get that out of our vocabulary. We're definitely on Facebook, and we'll be coming out. By the time you're listening to this, it should be season 3. So we should have some other resources you can listen to as well. We'll probably edit that in post. But anyway, just give us a like.
Don't forget YouTube. Always available on YouTube as well. And hopefully have some video coming along with that very soon.
Yeah, believe it or not, we're still on YouTube. I mean, they've banned quite a few people, but we're still there.
They're watching what we're doing. They're watching what we're doing.
Well, hey, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Have a good one.